We found out the highest damage theoretically possible. We established a plan, which allowed us to defeat the game using only Bloodlust. Learned patience with the item-only challenge. Optimization with a speedrun. And these are only the first pieces of the puzzle we will build today. Hello there! It is once again Frappolo94 here, ready to answer a question no one has, so you don't have to. And trust me, for this one you really don't want to. It is Can You One-Shot Fear and Hunger? This challenge has one simple rule. We can deal damage only once in the whole battle. We can't deal a damage, escape and then deal another one. We cannot use dots. No. One attack is everything we have. After that, if we aren't able to make the battle end, then we are stuck into the battle, and the only thing we can do is to reset. We are still allowed to perform actions that don't deal damage. Oh, and just to precise, if I miss an attack, I am still allowed to deal damage because screw the RNG. Oh, and remember this phrase, and keep repeating it to you during the whole video, trust me. Debug spots, which in case you don't know, are places where you can collect infinite items probably left over from development, are not allowed, and we are gonna play in Terror and Starvation difficulty. And in here I have one additional challenge, try to one-shot all the bosses. This is just to prevent the challenge from becoming a simple, oh, let's skip the majority of bosses possible and only fight the final bosses. And without further ado, we can start with our Kahara. And here you may already be wondering, why not starting as Ragnvalder? After all, Ragnvalder has a 10 more attack, right? If you believe in this, your mind will explode by the end of the video. And so, our run starts. The most important thing to do now, or at least the thing to not do, is to not take the bookshelves. In everything I'm gonna do now, unless I tell you to take them, do not search the bookshelves. As in all our challenges, the first thing I want to do is to reach Mahabre, get Blood Portal, and trigger all the possible fast travel in the dungeon. And in the process, it's better to find a red vial randomly from the crates, because we need that to prevent the Crow Mauler from disappearing once you enter into Mahabre. So, what's the plan from the starting point? I would say just steal from the Dark Priest the Book of Enlightenment, because yes, you can steal a Book of Enlightenment, and this will be very important later on. And then just kill them, because we need the talisman to enter into the Hexen and get Blood Portal. Wait a second. We dealt damage, and escaping is prohibited since we attacked. Does this show you that I don't do many preparations before doing a challenge? Are you starting to understand the mess we have to clean up in here? I mean, for sure I am. We can't deal with one of the weakest enemies of the dungeon. But it's different from the usual, because usually I try to get consistent strategies to stay into the battle and get everything I need to perform my tricks. Here we can't just stay into the battle forever and slowly grind the opponents. Here we have to do one shot. But maybe I have another plan. The first part is to rush to the Cave Dweller village, because in there is a guaranteed soulstone. Also remember, while going in there, never go to the left part of it, otherwise you will see Darcy, and therefore once you leave the zone, Darcy will die. And we may need her later. So, let's just enter the village. We can't deal with a yellow mage. I mean, yeah, of course we could enter into the battle and hope that we're able to one-shot the head, but is that really the best option to take? The only way to skip the battle is to go near Darcy, but if you go near Darcy there is another battle, and I don't know if you know that, but the Cave Dwellers are very tanky on the torso, and so even on that situation we would need to rely on the attack on the head. I can't believe I'm saying this, but just go over the yellow mage and see what do you lose because of hurting. If you lose a leg, then you have to reset. But if you lose an arm, then that's perfectly fine. Let's see if we are lucky with the first attack. Reset. While going in there, I also found a red vial. With the red vial, we have access to this prison chest. For those that don't know, if you hit correctly the coin flip of this specific chest, you will always get a soulstone. Maybe the luck is on my side. Maybe in this way I can just skip doing the yellow mage thing. I hate this game so badly. But at least we can go back to the yellow mage. We are not gonna fail 2 times in a row after also failing a chest, right? If you think this part is frustrating, you still didn't see anything. And I know some of you are thinking, we could go to the thicket and get a soulstone in there, but in all these runs, I didn't find a single explosive vial. Regardless of that, going around and looting requires much more time than just spending 3 minutes to reach the yellow mage and then reset if you don't hit it correctly. But eventually, just eventually, on the 3rd attempt, we were finally able to lose our arm instead of our leg. I have never been happier to lose an arm in my whole life. Oh, and also talk to the cave dweller so that the other cave dweller is gonna kill them because they can't interact with outsiders, I think, and so you can convert the soulstone into a lesser soul. And it almost seemed the luck was gonna be back on our side, because a few steps later, we found an empty scroll, not from a bookshelf. It was not required for my strategy, but it simplifies it a little bit. And now that we are here, take the cube, feast with the wolf masks in the infested mines, because Garagor Affinity is gonna come in handy later, and then go all the way to level 7 basement, unlock the prison shortcut, and if you followed all the steps and you are now on level 1 again, it is time to start with our plan. I don't know about you if you're trying this challenge alongside me. No, wait, real talk. Do you try these challenges alongside me or do you just watch them? Please, just watch. You're gonna suffer much more later. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I didn't find a purifying talisman in the crates. And the Hexen is still closed. We can't get Blood Portal. How do we fix this situation? It is time to start using the power previous challenges gave us. Take the guaranteed save near Iron Shakespeare. The first save is always guaranteed to be done correctly. After that there is gonna be a coin flip in which you have a chance to fight the Crow Mauler. But we only need 1 save. Because from here we are gonna do something I normally don't do in a usual run. But this isn't your usual run of the weekend. This is freaking one-shot Fear and Hunger challenge. That's why the next step is to loot all the non-coin flip bookshelves you have access to on the first floor to find the Pinecone Pig instructions. And if you don't find it, then save Scum. Yes, I said it. For this challenge, the best way to prepare is to join the dark side and save Scum our way to victory. I usually never do this technique in this game, or in any game on that department, because my personal opinion is that if wrong events exist in video games, then save scamming your way out of those events just removes the point of those events. But here, it's the only thing we can do. And so, after a couple of resets, we finally got the Pinecone Pig instructions. This book unlocks the crafting recipe for the Pinecone Pig, 1 pinecone and 1 stick. And once you have it, and if you keep it, every time you enter into a battle, you have a 25% chance for the Pinecone Pig to appear and give you an item from a selected pool. Go into the backyard using the mock-up book and talk to the butterfly. The butterfly is an enemy which in battle won't do anything, and we don't even need to attack them. Therefore, we are basically mortal. In my rule was stated that I can only not escape if I already damaged the opponent, but the butterfly is completely fine. What we're gonna do now is to keep resetting until we get a Purifying Talisman and a Red Vial. The Purifying Talisman to access the Hexen and get Blood Portal, and the Red Vial to be able to skip the Caromolar despawn. And since we are here, why don't we try to optimize this? What I mean is, open the settings of the game and put Command Remember on On. In this way, after the first time you perform an action, the game will remember where your cursor was, and will still be in there once you enter into the next battle. This doesn't work perfectly with items, but for the rest, it's fantastic. After you run for the first time, you can set up an almost automatic farm of these, where you just have to keep clicking 1 single button. That's why I took advantage of this situation to start my first watch of the Big Bang Theory in the background. Are you starting to realize why I didn't do this challenge on stream? After collecting everything, you may still be wondering, why are we avoiding all the bookshelves with a coin flip? It will soon be shown. Since you are here, you can steal from Torture and kill him, since after we enter Mahabre, he would disappear regardless. By doing this instead, we have the Vault Key in case we want to enter into the Penance Armor. After this, get Blood Portal from the Hexen. Finally. Enter Mahabre, use the Time Machine in the Tomb of the Gods to prevent the Caromolar from despawning, and surpass the Arc of Mahabre staying on the right. This is the best moment ever to be able to place all the Blood Portals through the dungeon and take the Book of Enlightenment in the level 7 basement. Not necessarily gonna use it now, because later on they're gonna be much more valuable, but still. Up to this point, we mainly resetted the game, so there is still time to take Legard. And you better do it now, otherwise there is really the chance he will die soon. Once you take him, it is time to leave him again. Yes, we do not want Legard in our party, we do not want him to risk anything, and most importantly, we do not want to waste time in battles by having another action performed each turn. How do we leave him without him dying? Make his mind go below 50, go into the room with the campfire in the column room in the ancient Mahabre, try to exit from it, there will be a mind event in which he says, I can't do this anymore. You say, okay, stay behind, and then offer him a mind restoring item. In this way, he will stand up, he is perfectly fine, just don't interact with him. Be sure to enjoy the low FPS gameplay in Mahabre for some obnoxious reason, and set up the remaining blood portals. After all this time, all this farming, and all these inconveniences, we can finally start to play the game. The next move is to keep farming with the Pinecone Pig to get a quill and 80 silver coins. It is time to use our lucky empty scroll to learn Demon Seed. This could have been done even in other ways, but since we were lucky, I guess let's take advantage from it. The funniest part is I am sure among you viewers there is at least someone who didn't know about the existence of Demon Seed for how situational and hidden it is. Use Demon Seed on Torture's corpse while destroying completely the corpse in the process. I mean, that's more handsome than his previous appearance, isn't it? Spend 80 silver coins to buy Alchemilla Volume 1 from the chief vendor in Mahabre. Fun fact, it says 70 silver coins, but then once you buy it, it's actually 80 silver coins. Please don't ask me why. Pay a visit to the the Hall of the New Gods, because they will reward you with another Book of Enlightenment. Oh, and also you can ask some very important lore questions to the gods if you want. At this point, go back and talk to Bachman in the basement. He will reward you 40 silver coins for killing a torture. The next step is... wait, I think that Dark Priest wasn't there at the start? Huh? Go back to the Butterfly to get another 80 silver coins total and use that to buy Alchemilla Volume 2. The demon baby in your inventory should still be in the baby stage, so we can go into the Temple of Torment and trigger the husk in the machine. By this point, my baby also grew up, so it is finally time to name our demon kid, and we're gonna name it Barter. For absolutely no reason, you can guarantee me there is not a single reason for which I decided to call it. Trade him to Pocket Cat for the Necronomicon. You're gonna be fine, sweetie. Just stay with Uncle Pocket Cat for a while, okay? I think if you have a little bit more than one brain cell, you may be wondering, what the hell are we doing with all these books? And I think this challenge in particular is the best situation to talk about it. Has it ever happened to you that you searched a bookshelf and obtained multiple books at the same time? That is caused by a little error in the code. Let me explain. There are some books which, if present in your inventory or if you already used certain books such as the Passages of Mahabre, they will cause the event to reroll itself. But even if it rerolls, the current one is still ongoing. Basically, two events are gonna run at the same time for bookshelves, and each one of them is able to give you some books. Needless to say, these rerolls can happen even 7 or 10 times in a row, giving you potentially 10 empty scrolls at once. Are you starting to understand why we intentionally left behind all the coin flip bookshelves? In this run, we will need a lot of Book of Enlightenment to save Scam, because I cannot just change the probability to crit an opponent in the game files. That would completely remove the purpose of this challenge after all. What we need is to gain the best optimization possibilities to be able to reperform the same battle over and over again, until everything goes according to plan and we crit one-shot the opponent. The books which cause the loops are these. Even though there are some exceptions, for example the Alchemilla volumes do not give loop possibilities in Mahabre, and mind you this doesn't work for the scroll shelves, because on the scroll shelves there is a different item pool in which you can find either a scroll or an empty scroll. The next part is to find and use empty scrolls to get all the remaining books for the loop. And also remember you have a 50% chance to steal an empty scroll from the Iron Shakespeare. Congratulations, if you did everything alright and you found finally all the books, now we have the highest possible chances of finding multiple empty scrolls. Do I really need to say what is the next step? Take all the possible coin flip bookshelves and save Scam until from each of them you get like 2 or 3 empty scrolls at once. We are finally able to collect the fruits of our flawless plan? The Passages of Mahabre? Another? Huh? Let me look for a second into the code, okay? I did not know this. Let me explain. Normally, you shouldn't be able to find multiple passages of Mahabra, because when you find the first one, a switch is turned on. And that switch prevents you from getting more copies of it. But there is something I never realized. If you get the passages of Mahabra through an empty scroll, that switch is not turned on. Huh, I am preparing another 50 useless things video. I guess this will be featured, definitely. I guess it's better to go back to the previous save file and try to get everything necessary from the bookshelf. Oh. And we got everything necessary, I guess. Now it's time to gamble. Remember, be satisfied with the 2 or 3 empty scrolls. Do not gamble too much. Remember that each empty scroll you get is potentially 1 Book of Enlightenment, so 1 extra boss you can save scam to. Without considering, of course, you can get some of the best skills or weapons in the game with it. Keep doing this for the majority of the bookshelves. Loot, if you're satisfied, go back and save. Loot, if you're satisfied, go back and save. And so on, and so on. Also at one point, I think I decided to get lockpicking and then guard in preparation for the future. And after around 30 minutes, there are still some bookshelves around, but our 28 empty scrolls make me feel like we can start with the battles. That's why you have to enter into the thicket, get the Eastern Sword, and why not, let's also take Ragnavaldr, the first real member of our real team. Also, it is time to take the blue scene in the caves, just because in that way you get access to the Yegaigetsu amulet, which increases the crit chance. After this, save and then fight the Assassin Spectre until Ragnavaldr is able to crit with the Eastern Sword plus the Yegaigetsu amulet. Once that happens, the sword will be purified, and now it is time to do some math. If the purified Eastern Sword gives you 70% critical chance, the Yegaigetsu amulet gives you 20, and all the characters start with a basic 4% crit chance, we now can have 94% chance of dealing around 1000 damage to the opponents. Or at least 1000 damage without any other modifications. But anyways, it's still 1000 damage. Do you feel it? The power? We can finally start our total annihilation. Are you ready? Let's go. In the current moment, we have the chance to be able to deal with the majority of the base enemies and with some bosses. We do not really care too much about their souls. Even the Cave Mother soul, who could potentially be used in something because it increases by 10% the attack, is not only soon gonna be power crept by the Mauler soul, which increases by 30%, but it's so situational that in this exact moment we are not gonna use it. And apart from that, we weren't really getting anything game-changing. Like, we stole some coins from the guards, for example, which may come in handy in case we need soulstones from the vendor. But it was more just to assert our dominance on the opponent in this case. The possibility to enter into all fights with Engard also limits the possibilities of even losing something in the first turn, because in case you don't know, sometimes enemies are able to attack before actually dying, such as the Elite Guard, and that's why killing him was one of the most satisfying things so far in this challenge. Also some more bosses failed, the Black Witch, the Iron Shakespeare even, of which I took also the soul, because these actually may come in handy much later. But by this point, the Eastern Sword was risking of becoming obsolete already, and that's why I decided to take advantage of the already present affinity with Gorogoroth we had. Pray into 2 ritual circles and on the statue of Gorogoroth, and this will give you a second level of affinity. After that, we get access to necromancy, and from the scrolls we found on the bookshelves, we also have greater blood magic for our main character. Resurrect a goal and make a marriage with them. In this way, you will get access to our main damage dealer, the Marriage. Or should I say, Incrediboy. You see, there is a reason for which I waited so long to get my main damage dealer. The Marriage has currently a bug in this version of the game. The Marriage can only Engard if it's equipped with a cursed short bow. Do you know by any chance what is the weapon Ragnavaldr starts with when you collect him as a party member? Short bow. Do you know what do we have? Lesser souls. Let's craft the cursed short bow and let's keep Engarding the opponents and dealing damage with Ragnavaldr. Oh, I forgot to say something. I also was able to sew off the arms from both Kahara and the Goal before making a marriage. Doing this will give you a lot of arms to get access to the Circle Spear, the best weapon for this challenge, and the only thing to even remotely make this run possible. And which better enemy to test this new weapon if not the Mauler itself? For the battle with the Crow Mauler, we're gonna go with the Circle Spear on the Marriage and the Yegagetsu Amulet. Now we have 24% chance to crit, and a crit with this weapon is able to one-shot the torso of the Crow Mauler. There are other things you could do to get rid of the Crow Mauler. For example, Chains of Torment deals 900 HP of damage, and the head of the Crow Mauler has exactly 900 HP, and should have around 50% magical evasion, but I still wanted to try the Circle Spear. And that's how the Crow Mauler fell. And finally we can take our loot, the Crow emblem. No, wait, no! Oops. I made an accidental baby. Okay, reset. So, as I was saying, the Crow Mauler is finally dead. Since I was feeling in the mood, let's also go all the way to the Old Guardian, and with this exact same strategy, we are soon able to finish him. Last but not least, the last easy target potentially, the Salmon Snake. One-shotting the Salmon Snake is possible potentially even in normal runs. For example, I accidentally did it during my Ragnavalder as ending with Bloodlust only challenge. Yeah, let's say the Salmon Snake is not exactly the hardest boss fight in the dungeon. But no worries, because it's here that the nightmare begins. To get access to the majority of the endings, we finally have to deal with the new gods. And 3 of them scared me a lot when I decided to do this challenge. Let's start with the easiest one between them all, the Skin Granny. Also be sure, since we dropped a priest robe in the past, to take the guaranteed empty scroll by talking to the dark priests in the dream. Skin Granny has 1800 HP, so we can go once again with Circle Spear plus Charm of Yegagetsu. Take a Book of Enlightenment, and let's see how many attempts I will need to defeat this creep. And it was first try! Easy! What are you even saying, Frapollo, Nightmare? This was the easiest fight in the run! No worries, because now we're gonna take our empty scroll, we are gonna write on our empty scroll, and we have to teach ourselves... Bloodlust. Oh, and also you have to give yourself a brown vial, but Bloodlust. Do you know what does Bloodlust do? It increases attack by 50%, but you start attacking random opponents. And we combine it with brown vial because that's another 50% boost to the attack. So, why are we using this disgrace of a skill in the strategy? Well, that's because of the next 3 bosses of the run. Let's start with Valtail. Valtail, on the head, has 4500 HP. And no worries, it's still the easiest one remaining. By doing some math, you will realize how 170 attack from the Circle Spear, combined with Bloodlust and Brown Vial boosts, is able to make you reach, on a critical hit, 4500 HP. So we are still allowed to keep the Charm of Yegagetsu in this. Do you know what's the real problem? As I told you, Bloodlust makes it so that you are uncontrollable. And Valtail has 4 body parts. The 2 sides of the brain, the head, and the 3rd eye. Do you remember my rule where the first attack is the only attack we can ever do in a battle with an opponent? Yeah. Not only we have 24% chance to crit, but now we also have 25% chance to attack the correct thing on the opponent! Let's try to look at the positives though. At least this battle was able to explain to me what I am gonna do for the rest of the battles in here. The main character starts with Bloodlust, and the secondary character is gonna apply Brown Vial. I know for now it is not a nuclear revelation or anything, but no worries because these give me an idea for later on. So yeah, we attacked, and attacked, and attacked. And mind you, by the way, there is still one factor I didn't talk about. There is a 20% variance in the attack. What does this mean? The attack can do, randomly, up to 20% more damage or up to 20% less damage. And with the amount of attack we have, we barely reach 4500. So if we are lucky, or unlucky I should say, there is still a chance for everything to be messed up by the variance. But let's be happy at least. By this point I finished the first season of The Big Bang Theory. I really like the fact that they keep referencing stuff happened in the previous episodes. It really helps you think that the episodes are not just like these stationary things separated from one another, but they are all connected. Oh wait, this is a Fear and Hunger video, not a Big Bang Theory video, sorry. Where were we? at least we killed Valtail. Even though, if I could go back, I think in this point right here, I would have been so happy to fight Valtail, because the next opponent is Chambara. I know that inside of you you're thinking, Frapollo, but Chambara has 2 phases, how do you defeat both of them? And the answer is pretty simple. For how RPG Maker works, in this battle, all the damage you deal to the current torso is eventually transposed to the next torso in phase 2. In other words, if we deal a high enough damage to the torso in the first phase, then we are guaranteed to win the battle. In other words, we have to equip the Circle Spear and the Mauler Soul. So, let's look at our situation, okay? We have a 4% chance of crit. Oh, world ending, wow! And the opponent has 4 different body parts, so we have a 4% on top of another 25% chance of attacking the correct body part. Oh, and that's not the only issue, because Chambara is potentially able to make every attempt last longer. Even though Brown Vial increases your evasion by 50%, Pummel still attacks a grand total of up to 8 times per turn, and Bloodlust has a 50% chance of being removed when attacked by Pummel. I believe it was around this point right here that I started thinking what the hell was I doing with my life. But hey, at least I had Big Bang Theory, now I'm almost at the end of Season 2 in the meantime. Okay. That's the first part now. Do you want to see what happens? We just have to click guard. And it's over. And as always, after Chambara there is the White Angel! Here we were able to relax for a little bit, because you just need the Circle Spear plus the Charm of the Yegagetsu, so you don't need to rely on crazy preparations to defeat him. And I know what you may be thinking, in my rules I said that if I miss, I am still allowed to attack, so why not just spamming a magical attack on the heart and winning immediately? Would you believe me if I told you that in this battle I actually wanted to stay longer? Because I already knew what was gonna come later, so I wanted to relax more. Now we have the 3 souls necessary to access the temple. Therefore, the next boss fight is gonna be the Nameless figurine. But I want to do something before that. Let's make Ragnavaldr leave our party. We are gonna take advantage of the same procedure we used for Legard, and the reason is pretty simple. In the upcoming battle against Francois, there is a very big chance that Ragnavaldr will just be useless, with also the potential to die and die over and over again. See you later, buddy. As for the fight itself with the figurine, it was just a Circle Spear and Yegagetsu. Also, mind you, we're gonna target the head, because while the torso has 3000 HP, the head only has 1800. And it doesn't even have any particular evasion or anything, you can just attack it like a normal limb. I don't really have anything else to say about this fight, it's just the most boring fight ever, like in the actual boss tier list. I think it's better if we just skip this battle and we go straight up to our demise, Francois. And here is where things start to be a little complicated. Francois' arm is able to use Cutlass, which always cuts off one of your arms, so we need to start the battle using defense stance. And you might be thinking, why not just getting the penance armor? We have the key after all. The reason is pretty simple. We have the hard leather armor equipped because we want to reduce a lot the fire damage. Without using that armor, with this setup, we would just die. Hello there, it's Frapollo in post-production. For those that want to say, you can just talk to Francois in order to prevent him from attacking, yes, but I found it more quote-unquote automatic to just use defense stance. The other good thing is that there is a little exploit we can do, okay? Once you kill phase 1, he will start doing a coin flip attack, and if you hit it wrong, you're gonna be automatically teleported outside of the battle and re-enter in a new battle with a new Francois with new mechanics. This doesn't break any rules, so we're allowed to kill phase 1, lose the coin flip, and then kill phase 2, right? It sounds easier said than done. Let's look at what we have. We have 24% chance to crit, 50% chance to lose the coin flip, and another 24% chance to crit. All of these in a row. It's around a total 3% of completion, not considering that once we create, we can still low roll with the variance. Remember when I said you can do up to 20% more damage or up to 20% less damage? That's the thing. And want to add insult to injury, the coin flip attack, for some ungodly reason because the developer is a stupid idiot, only happens once per battle. So even if you reach it, you can just stay in phase 2 until he does the coin flip. No, if you fail the coin flip in there, you have to reset every single time. Do you hear me slightly frustrated? That's because I am! We just have to keep resetting and pray that maybe, just maybe, the next time will be the time in which we finally finish the new gods. So that's it. All the new gods are dead, all the roads to the endings are opened, and we are almost at the edge of insanity. Do you remember we had around 30 empty scrolls? Now we have barely half of it, and we still have to start with the actual ending fights. Okay, maybe I was a little lackluster in some parts, but still, we consumed like 15 empty scrolls from the start. Do you realize how difficult this is? And I know there are gonna be some, actually, you could have saved an empty scroll in there if you did that, you could have saved an empty scroll in there if you did that. I know. That doesn't remove the truth to the fact that you need balls of steel to be able to endure all these resets. But without further ado, let's start with the most difficult part of the run. Take Legard and exit. Oh, that's ending E. I mean, okay, 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 has been done easily. There are no battles related to ending E after all, so that's just easy. Let's go to something actually scarier. Ending C. For this one, I also want to get Darcy, because Darcy is gonna be very important once we reach Sylvan fight, because yes, we are gonna do Sylvan fight. We are in terror and starvation after all. Make Legard sit on the throne and then follow him, and now welcome to the end of your sanity. Here there are 3 boss fights, the Greater Blight, Sylvan, and the Yellow King. There should be also the pterodactyl thing, okay? But when I recorded this I forgot to do that, and now I don't have this save file anymore. The Greater Blight is not difficult, but we are gonna use this battle for something much more valuable. Remember, we still have the command remember put on in the settings, which makes it so that every time you start a battle, all the cursors are already positioned on the previous taken actions. That is what we are gonna set up now, because for Sylvia battle, I can guarantee you we're gonna spend hours. So yeah, the Greater Blight just goes down. We're gonna take advantage of a little exploit for this. In the last part before he reaches you, he only has 66% evasion. You can actually attack him with physical attacks. And fortunately, that's what happened. But in the way we finished the battle, now the game will automatically make us do Bloodlust, Warcry with Ragnavaldr to prevent Entangle from taking the Marriage, and then Darcy's gonna be already on the items to use a Brown Vial on me. This, considering how many resets we will do, will save us a lot of time, and will also allow us to pay less attention to the battle itself. So, what is the problem with Sylvan? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 body parts! And in order to deal enough damage to one-shot her, we need to put the Mauler soul with the Circle Spear, so we only have 4% chance to crit. This was probably the most frustrating fight so far I have done in any challenges on my channel. I would retake the 1 hour Pinecone Pig farming every day instead of this. You know why? Because with the Pinecone Pig, you were always taking an item after each battle. You were always gaining some progresses from what you were doing. In here, the progress doesn't exist. You just have to reset every time. You go back to the beginning every time. I feel that is what frustrates me the most. You are never making progresses in this challenge. And on that note, I think that kinda connects well to why I hate save scamming. You don't learn anything from that. But wait. I don't want to attack anyone. If you like to save scam, of course, that's fine. Yeah. Can you tell me in the comments why do you like save scamming? Actually, I am actually curious to know. So, please, I am open to other opinions. Change my mind, how they would say, okay? And so, I am almost at the end of another season of Big Bang Theory, and finally. And this wasn't even the final form of this challenge. But hey, now at least we can take on the Yellow King. It's much easier than Sylvan's fight, especially because now there are less body parts on the opponent, but especially in here we can use the Purified Eastern Sword, and we are still gonna reach the required damage. This required me, and I can count them on my hand, 2 single resets. If only all the other fights were that easy, right? Also, we are not gonna do ending D because it's literally ending C but without the fight with Legard, okay? Screw you. It is gauntlet time! Just skip everything and go to the last room. If you have the girl, it is time for the god of fear and hunger. And here, I don't actually want to cut anything to show you this was literally my first attempt in the battle. You know why I love the god of fear and hunger? Because it's potentially the only enemy in which using Bloodlust is not detrimental or stupid or RNG, because there is only one single opponent to attack. So, with Bloodlust, on the second turn, in case you don't know I'm gonna tell you, if you deal 4000 damage, the battle will end immediately and you will win. So yeah, 0 resets confirms that this ending is canon in Termina. I mean, yeah, there is the sigil and all the kind of stuff, but still, it's canon. There is only one ending left, and I can guarantee you, it's gonna be the most painful one. So, ending B is the fight with Gorgoroth. He has 6000 HP on the torso, has 8 different body parts, 5 eyes, the torso, and the 2 arms. In order to be able to deal enough damage, we need to use Sergal Spear plus Mauler Soul. So we have a 4% chance to crit, and only one of the 8 targets is the correct one. Not considering that, there is a cutscene before starting the battle. There is a cutscene during the battle, because he does Whispers of Gorgoroth right at the start. He is potentially bugged, because sometimes he acts before you, and because of that, I needed to go back and take the Penance Armor to prevent my limbs from being cut off immediately. He is able very easily to break Bloodlust on you, because he does so many attacks that Ragnavaldr with Warcry will just die, and you will be left unprotected. I forgot Dante. By how many times did I hear that stupid sound that keeps repeating every time you start a battle, in which he whispers you how you're gonna die? I already know how I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die playing Fear and Hunger, playing this stupid game that is haunting my dreams, that is haunting my nightmares, that is haunting me every time! You know, at the start, while I was recording the challenge, I was thinking of splitting this video in 2 parts, because I wasn't sure I would have defeated Gorgoroth by Sunday. And wanna know the funniest part? In this moment that I'm talking, it is the morning of Sunday. I have to edit the full video in around 7 hours. So, if you're able to see the full video uploaded, please, consider subscribing and leaving a like. That's gonna help me a lot. And I hope you can feel at least the smallest grain of satisfaction that I felt in this moment. It's over. You know, I took inspiration for making this challenge from someone that did it in Dark Souls. You know what's the difference? In there, the majority of the one-shot comes from your capacity. There are no random variables which determine your damage or something. The way in which Fear and Hunger handles damage, unfortunately, instead was much more dependent on RNG, which is maybe why I didn't enjoy this challenge at its fullest. But still, we did it. Can you one-shot Fear and Hunger? Yes, but do not try this at home. I swear, if I didn't have Big Bang Theory to keep me company, I would probably go insane at this point. So, for today that's it. Now I have to hurry up and edit this thing for today. So, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe because that's gonna help me a lot. But for now, I was Frapollo94, and I will see you next time.